Now, joining me for more reaction right now to the Supreme Court's decision is former Chief Immigration Officer with Border Force. That's Kevin Saunders. Good morning to you, Kevin.
Good morning, Julia.
So what do you make of what the Supreme Court had to say this morning then? The government policy is in principle OK, but practicalities, no, it's unlawful.
Well, there you go. To be honest, I had an inkling that this was going to happen. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. The Rwanda policy is now dead. What is interesting is that their lordships decided that the idea of sending people to third countries is not illegal. It's just they don't like Rwanda. So perhaps we ought to try sending them back to Australia and see what happens there.
See if Australia wants them. Oh, but hold on a minute, though. But it's been quite clear. I mean, the Prime Minister's saying that they're basically saying there is a plan B. Suella Braverman said there isn't a plan B. But if they were able to rectify the actual issues specific to Rwanda, get a new treaty agreement, new rules, new asylum processes, they could appeal and they could perhaps get the Supreme Court to change their ruling.
Well, I'm not sure you can. You can appeal again. A treaty, I don't think a new treaty is going to work because look who the Foreign Secretary now is. He's very pro-Europe. He is not going to want to do anything that's going to rock the boat Europe-wise. I think what is interesting, Julia, is the British way of doing these things and the European way of doing them, because France has already said it will not accept claims from asylum seekers under the ECHR.
Yeah.
And when they were challenged, the French did what they always do, shrugged their shoulders and said, see you in court. So the French have already said they will not accept Article 7 claims under human rights.
But this is where we always are, though, is that when you get like a Strasbourg ruling or under the European Convention, all the different rules, is that Britain goes, oh, well, we follow everything to the letter of the law, which I think we should, except other countries ignore those rulings. They literally just go, OK, and they just do what they were doing anyway.
The French have said it's not in their national interest. So there you go. Perhaps Rishi ought to say this ruling is not in our national interest. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see if there is a plan B, and I imagine we'll find out when the Prime Minister does his announcement at 4:45 tonight.
Yes, at 4:45, we're expecting that press conference. Well, that's the thing, and that's going to be the big debate. And if we don't see something today, I mean, there were only various options of what could happen. This is not an out-of-the-blue Supreme Court judgment. We've had a long time to prepare for it. Surely they knew what they were going to do. Now, we know there's going to be a lot of pressure from certain contingencies on the Conservative Party, including from Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary, for the government to basically say, right, we're just going to get out of the European Convention on Human Rights. We're just going to basically say, on this issue, when it comes to asylum, we are not going to accede to these rulings, whether it's European Court as well. That's it. We're just going to go ahead anyway. Do you think there's any chance of that happening under this government?
No, I don't. I don't think that they will back down. I think the government will say, oh, well, we've lost and that's that. I mean, the thing with coming out of the ECHR is the impact it could have on the Good Friday Agreement. And, of course, the Americans are leaning on Sunak over the Good Friday Agreement. Biden is a big supporter of it. So I suspect that the hotline's been buzzing with the Americans saying to him, leave it alone.
Yeah.
So,
but as far as you're concerned, the Rwanda policy is dead. Do you think this policy could go ahead, but with another country, though?
Well, yes, we could do it with another country. The question is finding a safe country.
But wants the people?
Quite honestly. Yeah.
Well, as I'm saying, I'm not sure the Bahamas want them. You know, I had a lovely time in Antigua at Christmas. I don't think they want them.
I mean, the only places that we could actually send them to, I think, without involving anybody else, would be a Crown dependency. But we don't have too many of those that are possible. I mean, perhaps we could send them to St Helena and put them up in Napoleon's old house.
Do you know, I thought he was going to say that. I thought he was going to say send them to Centre Parks. I genuinely I thought that's where he was going there. Kevin, we'll have to leave it there. Kevin Saunders, thank you always for joining us. Former UK Border Force Chief Immigration Officer. Quick word from Benedict Spence, commentator who's still joining me in the studio.
It's completely right. You find me the country that actually would be prepared to take people that we would all consider safe. It doesn't matter if it's Thailand or Myanmar or Morocco. There will always be an issue that the lawyers can find. But the irony of this, of course, Lord Reid cited UN figures in his ruling, is that the UN is made up of all of these countries. These ones that we go, that's a dictatorship, that's a despot, that one arrests journalists, that one arrests opposition figures.
Let's take their
they all
judgment.
come together and they say, oh, you can't possibly do that, it's against human rights. And we, idiots, sit there and go, yeah, it's the UN, they must be right. It's a load of nonsense.
Well, you and I don't, we don't.
No, we don't,
I mean,
sadly.
this is the extraordinary thing. It's like, what is the solution? What is the plan B, the plan C, the plan D? What is it? Because the British people would like our borders to be secure, please. And I think we are going to vote once again to insist on that. And once again, politicians are going to fail to do it.
I do think that the best solution, sadly, is an overseas territory. It's difficult to do, but it's the easiest.
We must have an island somewhere.
We must do.
Human rights lawyers will never allow that either.
There
is so much more to talk about.